You haven't seen any of these, have you? Today's compilation is some of the weirdest, scariest, and downright weirdest clips we've ever come across. My name's Steve, this is Classified Captures. Sit tight. It's about to get wild. Starting things off today, we got this clip from a shop owner who was reviewing security footage of a shoplifting incident that had recently occurred at his establishment. It was supposed to be a simple documentation of evidence, but it turned out to be something more. In the footage, the man is seen casually taking a dress off the rack, but if you watch closely right between his legs and the hanging dresses, there appears to be something else moving with him. It's a miniature humanoid figure. It's not a reflection, it's a solid, tiny being that seems to peek out, then vanishes within a split second. The shop owner was stunned. They replayed the footage multiple times just to be sure they weren't seeing things, but the little figure was definitely there, even if just for a brief moment. Now here's where it gets even more bizarre. In many cultures, there are stories of duendes. They're mischievous small beings that steal from people, play tricks, or even attach themselves to individuals. Some say duendes can be summoned by certain people to assist in theft or for chaos for others. So, did this man somehow bring a duende with him to help him pull off the heist? Well, no one knows for sure, but it definitely adds a chilling twist to what was supposed to be a normal case of shoplifting. What do you think? This might just be one of the clearest photographs of Bigfoot we've seen in a while. According to the person who took it, the creature was spotted at the top of a tree, which is already strange enough on its own. In the image, it has its back turned toward the camera, so we don't get a clear look at its face, but what we can see is the back of its head, and the rest of the body is mostly hidden behind the thick branches. Now, take a closer look at that head. It's large, rounded, and covered in dense hair. It doesn't resemble any common animal you'd expect to see perched in a tree. The shape is distinctive, and it fits what many describe as one of the key features of Bigfoot. Skeptics say it's just a bear or even a person in gear, but if you know the legends of Bigfoot, especially in forested regions, you'll know this is no bear. This image is said to have been captured by a group of police officers in Argentina. They were out on routine patrol near a park when they noticed something unusual moving between the trees. At first, they thought it was just a person wandering in the woods, maybe someone lost or just acting suspiciously, so naturally they called out to it. But the figure didn't respond. Instead, it just stood there silent. That's when they got a better look and realized this was no ordinary person. One of the officers managed to snap this photograph before the figure slipped deeper into the woods. Take a look. The image shows a slender humanoid creature partially hidden behind a tree. Its skin is pale, almost grayish, and its arms appear unusually long, hanging low to its sides. The creature's head is large with what looks like oversized black bug-like eyes, and it's slightly hunched over as if crouching or trying to stay out of sight. The police were reportedly stunned by what they saw. This was not a prank, and they weren't expecting to find something like this during a night patrol. The photograph quickly gained attention, but as of now, there's very little information beyond the image itself. No official statements or follow-ups, just this strange image. So what do you think? We have another alien sighting, and this one is very recent. The footage was captured on June 5, 2025 by a homeowner who discovered it while checking their porch security camera. What they found was chilling. Take a look. The video shows a gray alien very similar to the previous footage. It's pale, skinny, and humanoid in shape, but this one was a bit different. It looks shorter in height, and its head is longer, especially toward the back, giving it a sort of elongated skull. Its head was tilted downward the whole time, so we don't get a clear look at its face, but what we do see is enough to make your skin crawl. The figure walks right in front of the house, slowly and quietly. The security camera caught the entire thing from the porch clear as day. Now, skeptics are calling it fake, suggesting it could be CGI or a costume, but the homeowner insists it's authentic, and the way the creature moves and how naturally it blends into the environment makes you wonder. So what do you think? Was this just a prank or a real encounter with something out of this world? If gray aliens are real, then fairies shouldn't be that far-fetched. A resident in Newport, Wales shared a photograph that's now getting a lot of attention. At first, it might look like nothing more than bright, shiny lights rushing across the yard, but look a little closer and it gets strange. The photo shows 4 small, glowing figures darting just above the grass. Each one appears to have long, thin wings, and most oddly, when you zoom in, you can just about make out what looks like a tiny humanoid form attached to those wings. The person who took the image says they were convinced they saw fairies, or at least something fairy-like. They said the creatures were flying fast, almost too fast for the camera to catch clearly, but what little they managed to capture was enough to raise questions. Easy to dismiss this kind of thing, but let's be honest, who wouldn't want to find fairies in their own backyard? This guy. I definitely would. What you're looking at was captured on a trail camera deep in the wilderness. The owner of the camera was creeped out by what they saw and decided to share the footage online, hoping someone could help them make sense of it. The image shows a humanoid figure walking alone along the trail. There's no trees, landmarks, or anything else around, just this strange figure in the middle of nowhere. At first, it almost looks human, but something is off. The legs look unusually rigid to be a person. One arm appears to be bent backwards unnaturally, and instead of fingers, there's just a blunt, fingerless stump. The other arm is completely missing from view, and the head is hazy, making it impossible to tell what it really looks like. Some people believe this could be a skinwalker, a shapeshifter from Navajo legend, said to roam remote places like this. Others think it might be some kind of demonic entity. But what do you think? A security guard at a remote property was working a night shift when he noticed something strange on the surveillance footage. On the screen, you can clearly see 2 small, dark, human-like silhouettes walking across a deserted road. They looked about the size of children, but something about them was off. Their movements, shape, the way they appeared and disappeared from view was unsettling. Now here's the thing. This wasn't a busy area. The property is private and remote, far from any public footpaths or commercial spaces, so you wouldn't expect to see anyone wandering around at that hour, let alone children. Some people tried to give it a rational explanation, suggesting they might have been kids playing a prank. But when you watch the footage, it's hard to shake the feeling that what you're seeing isn't that simple. The silhouettes were humanoid in shape, walking upright, and there didn't seem to be anyone else around. So, are they spirits, shadow beings, or ghosts? By now, we've all heard about the Diddy freak-offs, the same scandal that landed him in jail and led to a very public trial everyone is still talking about. But recently, I came across something even darker. There's a photo of Diddy at a party surrounded by a group of celebrities. It's said to be from one of those exclusive after-parties. But if you look closely at the background, something strange appears. Just behind Diddy, there's a face, and this one looks terrifying. And it seems to be posing with the group, yet no one even notices. Many in the online community believe this figure could be more than just a creepy photobomb. Some think it's a demon summoned during one of these gatherings, and considering the long-standing rumors about the dark side of the music industry, it's not that far-fetched. Stories of occult practices, secret rituals, and strange symbols have circulated for years. So could this be more proof? Perhaps the freak-off were more than just being freaky. Houses tend to hold onto a lot of energy, especially the older ones, and sometimes that energy doesn't always rest quietly. A woman had recently bought a very old home. It was said to date back to before the Civil War, and according to local talk, it once operated as a regional doctor's office. That means patients were constantly going in and out, and just like old hospitals, places like this often become hotspots for paranormal activity. Since moving in, the family has experienced strange things they couldn't quite explain. Unusual sounds, cold spots, and the feeling that someone or something was always watching. So they decided to set up a camera and see if they could catch anything on tape. And they did. If you look closely at the staircase, you can see what appears to be a shadowy figure moving upward. It's faint but clear enough to see the shape as it drifts up the steps. No one was near the stairs at the time. The entire family was accounted for, and there was no one else in the house. So that shadow couldn't have belonged to a living person. The widespread speculation is that it's a lingering spirit tied to the building's medical past, or maybe just one of many energies still roaming the halls of that very old home. Speaking of ghosts, a man in the UK had a chilling encounter back in 2024 that left many people speechless. He was out in the woods working when he noticed a group of deer standing quietly near a tree just ahead of him. Wanting to capture the peaceful moment, he took out his phone and started filming. The deer eventually ran off, but it wasn't the animals that made this footage so disturbing. When reviewing the footage later, he noticed something else. On the right side of the frame was a strange figure. It looked like a person hanging from a tree, but we only see from the elbows downward. There is no head visible, and the figure had a grayish tone. Now here's what makes this truly unsettling. The man insists he never saw anything there while filming, and considering he was working in that exact area, if there had been an actual body or even someone playing a prank, he would have seen it with his very own eyes, but he didn't. What raises the question is, what did his camera capture? Was it a residual spirit or someone who may have died there long ago? Because no matter how many times you replay the footage, that ghostly figure is still hanging there. In Brazil, a street security camera captured something that's leaving people stunned. The footage is hazy, but you can make out a tall creature standing about 8 to 9 feet high. Its legs are shaped like hind legs bent backward in an animal-like way. And if you look closely, it appears to have a tail. But here's the part that really stands out. Its head looks like it has a snout, almost like a dog's. And it was caught walking down the street in the middle of the night while everyone in the neighborhood was fast asleep. Just look at that thing. Some are saying it could be a werewolf or a skinwalker. Some believe it's just a hoax, maybe a person in a costume or an edited image. But what do you think? In Mississippi, something very strange has been happening, and it's got a lot of people talking. Multiple witnesses have reported seeing a giant pyramid-shaped object in the sky. It looks like a large cloud, but when you zoom in, you realize it's not a cloud at all. The shape is far too perfect. The surface appears smooth, almost metallic, and it seems like it's just sitting there completely still. But that's not even the weirdest part. Everyone who reported seeing this strange pyramid claimed that after spotting it, they began to feel off, and in some cases, it got dangerous. One man said he was in a car with a friend going about 60 miles per hour when suddenly he felt an overwhelming urge to jump out of the moving car, and he actually did. Another woman claimed she was driving and saw the pyramid ahead, and out of nowhere, she felt like she wanted to crash into the car in front of her, and she followed through. She rear-ended the vehicle with no explanation as for why. Others have come forward saying they also experienced sudden chaotic feelings after seeing the object. Some described confusion, others described panic or a strange pull towards self-destructive behavior. So what is this floating pyramid in the sky? Is it some kind of unknown technology, a government experiment, or something not from this world that is capable of altering human behavior just by being seen? This next footage comes from a museum in Manchester, and it's left both staff and visitors scratching their heads. The object in question is a 25-centimeter tall ancient statue discovered back in the 1800s. It's believed to have been used as a sacrificial offering to Osiris, the powerful Egyptian god of the afterlife. For years, the statue stood quietly behind glass until staff started noticing something strange. They realized that during the day, the statue was changing positions. It wasn't obvious at first, but over time they could clearly see that it had rotated slightly. No one could explain it. There were no vibrations, no tampering, and no one was allowed near the display. So, the museum staff decided to set up a time-lapse camera to monitor the statue, and what they caught on film is incredible. When the footage is sped up, you can actually see the statue slowly rotating on its own throughout the day. Bit by bit, hour by hour, it moves. And this went on for days until eventually it rotated all the way back to its original position. But now here's where it gets even more mysterious. This wasn't just any decorative piece. It was an offering to Osiris, the deity known for his connection to the afterlife and the spiritual realm. So could this statue hold some kind of ancient energy, or perhaps even a lingering presence tied to its original purpose? This woman was sharing a moment with her daughter, talking about her grandmother who'd passed away years before the little girl was born. They were just sitting, talking, when all of a sudden the little girl looked at her and said, "Grandma is here." And she says, "Hi, Jamila." The woman froze. You can see the shock on her face before she quickly ends the video, and here's why that moment was so chilling. The only person who ever called her Jamila was her grandmother. No one else used that name. And her grandmother had passed away long before the little girl was even born, so how did she know? Some people believe children can sense things we can't. They're more open to spiritual energies or visitations. Maybe, just maybe, this was one of those moments. The woman had been talking about her mother, and somehow her daughter picked up on something that felt beyond explanation. Of course, some would say kids have wild imaginations, but in this case, it felt too specific. What do you think? Did this little girl have a true moment of spiritual connection, or can children just see things that us grown-up oldies can't?
Where is my grandma? Where is she?
I've been having. How old was she?
93. Sometimes if you get really, really old, then you go home to God.
Mommy, your grandma's here. And she says, "Hi, Jamila."
This man is in a camper in Russia, and he recently shared a chilling camping experience that has the internet talking. While resting in his tent one night, he began hearing footsteps outside. At first he thought it was a person, so he called out, but no one responded. When he stepped out to check, he noticed that his dog, who had been tied near the tent, was gone. He spotted it running off into the woods as if it were chasing something, so he packed up and searched the forest all night. But by sunrise, he still hadn't found the dog. What he did find, though, was disturbing. He came across a small site deep in the woods. There were wooden traps scattered on the ground and a pile of warm coals. Someone had been there recently, but whoever it was, they were gone. That night, he decided to stay in the area again, hoping his dog would return, but things only got worse. As he was preparing to set up camp near a tree, he suddenly heard a strange thumping sound, like a deep drumbeat coming from somewhere in the forest. Then out of nowhere, an arrow shot through the air and embedded itself into the tree right above his head. In panic, he dove behind the tree for cover, but more arrows followed. Luckily, none of them hit him. He managed to survive the night, and at dawn he finally found his dog, and without wasting any time, he packed up and left the forest for good. Now, this footage has sparked serious speculation. Some people believe it may have been a group of wild people, maybe cavemen, living deep in the forest and attacking him for trespassing. Others, however, think it's all staged. They point out the arrows look like the kind used in archery competitions, not primitive weapons. But even these skeptics admitted that whoever fired these arrows had incredible aim. The arrows landed deep into the tree with real accuracy. So, is this all an elaborate hoax?
Кто здесь?
A man who had been caring for his elderly grandmother began to feel like something wasn't quite right. She'd been acting strangely and certain things around the house just didn't add up, so to ease his mind, he decided to install a camera in her room. The footage starts out normal. You can see him gently carrying her to bed and tucking her in. He turns off the light and leaves the room, but that's when things take a disturbing turn. Not long after he's gone, the grandmother sits up in bed. Then she climbs out and stands perfectly straight in the dark. She slowly turns around, and seconds later, a picture falls from the wall, and she bolts towards the corner of the room. The grandson re-enters, possibly after hearing the noise, and he picks up the fallen picture and puts it back without noticing anything out of the ordinary. He then walks right out again. What the camera captures next is chilling. The grandmother is now standing completely still by the doorway. Then, without warning, she runs straight toward the camera and presses her face right against it. Next, the camera on the floor likely knocked over, and for the rest of the footage, she can be seen wandering aimlessly around the room. At one point, she looks directly into the lens, and then the footage cuts off. The grandson later revealed that he had no idea this had happened until he watched the recording. He said she never mentioned anything about that night. So, what is really going on here? Was she sleepwalking? Was she possessed? Or was something else at work? What you're looking at right now is an image of what many believe to be an alien. We don't have much information about where or when this was captured, but the image speaks for itself. It appears to show a thin, gray creature, its head large and smooth, with features that match the classic descriptions of a gray alien. The figure is seen standing near a plant, and it looks like the photo was taken in the middle of the night. What really stands out is how skinny the being is. Its limbs are long and bony, and its presence feels unnatural. Some say it could be a hoax, but others are convinced this might be the real thing. With no clear location and no follow-up details, all we're left with is this haunting image and a ton of questions. So what do you think? A man was visiting a quiet pond when he spotted this creature crouched down at the edge of the water, its mouth dipped as if it was drinking. But this wasn't any ordinary animal you'd expect to see. Its skin looked like it was human and was pale. Its eyes were completely hollow. The entire thing gave off an eerie, unsettling presence. The man, shocked, quickly snapped a photograph before the creature slipped away. He later shared the image online, and now people everywhere are trying to make sense of what they're seeing. Some believe it might be a mutated creature, while others are even saying it could be an alien or some kind of unknown species. Of course, skeptics have jumped in too. They argue that it's nothing more than an edited photograph. If it is fake, it's an incredibly well done one, and if it's real, then what exactly did this man capture by the pond? A man was out in the middle of the hills near Beaver, Utah, flying his drone. He's a drone photographer and has been taking his equipment to capture some scenic footage of the area. But when he got home to review what he filmed, he was left stunned by what he saw. As the drone flew smoothly through the air, scanning the wide open land below, something shot past. It was a strange object moving at lightning speed. It zipped across the screen in a flash, almost too quick to process in real time. But here's the thing. The footage is clean. It's not shaky, and there are no obvious signs of editing or glitches. Whatever this thing was, it was caught clearly on a well-functioning drone. That's why many people are now questioning whether this could be an actual UFO or something else entirely. So what did this man capture flying through the Utah hills? A couple in the UK shared these images. They were walking on the shores of Margate, Kent, when they saw this in the sand surrounded by seaweed. It has the tail of a fish, but the upper body is alien, almost human. Its torso and head look skeletal, but with an eerie carved appearance. Some who've seen the footage believe this might be a mermaid, but not everyone is convinced. Skeptics argue that it looks too much like a carved sculpture rather than an actual skeleton. The wood-like texture and details suggest it may have been part of an art piece or even a staged hoax. Still, when you look at it, it's hard not to feel unsettled. So what do you think? This video was shared from New Jersey. A passerby spotted something strange on the curb in front of someone's house. It looks like the curb is burning, but not in a normal way. It's more like the ground itself is melting. Flames flicker along the edge, and you can see some kind of lava-like liquid bubbling and oozing from the surface. What makes this even stranger is that no one was around. No firefighters, no smoke coming from a nearby grill or trash can, just the fire and this glowing, bubbling patch on the ground. There's even a ladder lying near the flames, but no explanation for why it's there or who left it. So what's going on here? Is this some kind of underground gas leak causing the pavement to ignite? Is it a chemical spill? Some people are joking that it looks like the beginning of a volcanic eruption. So what do you think is happening here? This man claims to be documenting real-life Sasquatch sightings, and he even has names for the creatures he says he's encountered. Now, take a look at some of the beings he's captured on camera. In the footage, you can see what appears to be large, hairy figures hiding behind trees. They don't move much, but they're there. Some are partially concealed by branches, while others seem to be staring directly at the camera. When you zoom in and really look at them, it's hard not to be intrigued. The faces are detailed from the nose, the mouth, and the structure. They look ape-like in many ways, but there's something human about them. And that's what makes them so unsettling. They feel too real to be costumes. So the question, are these legitimate Sasquatch sightings? We got a new UFO sighting, and this one is turning heads. The person who shared the footage shows us a very clear shot of what looks like a futuristic sci-fi style craft hovering in the sky. At first, it seems like the usual shiny flying object we've seen in so many UFO videos, but then the camera zooms in, and that's when things get interesting. What we see is a highly detailed, almost cinematic-looking craft. It has a sleek design, sharp edges, and glowing lights. It looks too perfect, and honestly, that might be the biggest giveaway. When something looks this polished and dramatic, it starts to raise questions. Could this be the real deal? Or are we looking at AI? With how realistic AI-generated visuals are becoming, it's getting harder to tell what's real and what's not. So what do you think? This video was shared online by a farmer, and it's one of the creepiest things to come out of a chicken coop. The farmer heard strange noises coming from the hen house late at night, so he decided to go check the security footage to see what was going on. What he found left him speechless. The footage shows an 8-foot-tall humanoid figure walking through the chicken coop. Its back is turned to the camera as it moves slowly through the area. This is a Bigfoot. In one of its massive hands, it appears to be holding a hen. Another hen walks calmly just ahead of it. The chickens don't seem disturbed by its presence at all, and that's suspicious. Anyone who raises chickens knows they're extremely sensitive. Loud noises, sudden movements, or unfamiliar shapes usually send them into a frenzy. But in this video, they're calm. Too calm. Watch closely and you'll see its shadow stretch across the coop. It moves naturally, matching its steps in a way that makes it hard to dismiss it as a hoax or AI-generated. So do you think an actual Bigfoot in a coop, or is this AI? Still don't believe in ghosts? Well, then you should take a look at this. In this chilling footage, something yanks a woman's hair backwards. You can see her head snap back so aggressively that she ends up falling to the ground. She drops the plate of food she was holding. She quickly scrambles to her feet, looking around in confusion and fear. She's clearly trying to figure out who or what just did that to her. But she was completely alone in the house. No one else was there, and if it wasn't for the security camera in the room, no one would have believed her story. The force, the motion, the way she reacts, none of it looked staged, and whatever grabbed her wasn't something she could see. So do you still think ghosts don't exist? Back in 2015, someone claimed to have captured a sighting of the Jersey Devil, one of America's oldest and creepiest legends. Now, for those who don't know what it is, the Jersey Devil is a mysterious creature said to live in the Pine Barrens of New Jersey. It's often described as having the body of a kangaroo or a goat, bat-like wings, hooves, and a piercing screech. The person who shared the sighting also posted a photograph, and in the image, you can clearly see a creature with 4 legs and what looks like wings on its back and in mid-air. The photo immediately sparked a debate. Some people are convinced that they've seen the Jersey Devil for real. Others say the creature in the image looks more like a goat that's somehow been launched or thrown. Though that doesn't explain the wings, does it? And goats don't fly, so what are we really looking at? Is it a clever hoax, a misidentified animal, or actual proof that the Jersey Devil might be more than just a campfire story? We've seen a lot of UFO footage over the years, but take a look at this one and tell me what you think.
This is Houston. Say again, 7? Yeah, bogey, attack on time.
We have an unidentified flying object.
On the drive that appears to be coupling. It just seems to be tagging along with us.
This video was reportedly taken by astronauts aboard a space shuttle mission, and what it shows is both fascinating and mysterious. While the shuttle was in orbit, they noticed these round objects moving just below the spacecraft. They appeared to be metallic spheres glinting in the light, calmly following the shuttle but staying far enough away not to make contact. The objects didn't move erratically, they didn't speed off into space, they simply trailed the shuttle, matching its speed. But what's strange is that these weren't space debris. They were too perfectly shaped and too coordinated in their motion. When you watch the footage, it feels different from the typical shaky clips we often see. This one is clear, steady, and honestly pretty convincing. It just doesn't seem like a hoax. Some people are already calling this one of the most believable space UFO sightings ever caught on camera. Some say it could be space junk or particles, but others think this was a genuine encounter with a UFO. So what do you think?
Lots clear. 7, go ahead. I'll tell you at 10 o'clock high. This is Houston. Say again, 7? I have a bogey at 10 o'clock high.
We have an unidentified flying object.
I'll advise that appears to be coupling. It just seems to be tagging along with us.
There's a very strange trend going on, and it's all centered around something that seems innocent: the Lubaboo dolls. These are small, cute, and very expensive collectible dolls. They've been going viral across social media, with people showing off their collections and customizing them. But not all the attention has been positive. Recently, some people have started claiming that these dolls might be haunted. In fact, a few of them even compared Lubaboo to the modern-day Pazuzu, a demonic entity. Now, that might sound like an exaggeration, but a few personal experiences have left people uneasy. One mother shared a chilling story online. Her daughter came running into her home, terrified. She said her Lubaboo doll's black eyes had suddenly turned green. The doll hadn't been altered, and the change happened all on its own. The little girl was so scared that she decided to burn the doll. Some say it's just the power of suggestion. People are reading too much into a viral trend and letting their imaginations take over. But others insist that strange things keep happening around these dolls, things that can't be easily explained. Is this internet hysteria, or is there something behind the Lubaboo craze? Personally, until now, I never even heard of this, but I can't stand dolls. If I'm in any bedroom or anywhere where there are dolls, even male action men or something, I have to throw them the hell out.
What happened?
His eye just turned green.
What do you mean they turned green?
Oh, hell no.
Don't throw it to me! What happened?
It just turned green and I was cleaning my room.
What do you mean it turned green?
It's his eye.
His eye?
Yeah.
When you're celebrating your birthday, you'd expect to blow out the candles on your cake, right? Well, something strange happened during this celebration. The lady was handed a birthday cake. She leaned in, ready to blow out the candles like anyone would. But when she did, nothing happened. The flames stayed lit, almost like they were resisting. Then, just a moment later, all the candles suddenly went out on their own. No one touched them. They just blew out by themselves. Everyone in the room looked confused, and you can see the woman's face change as she tries to make sense of what just happened. Some people are saying maybe a ghost or some kind of unseen presence was there with her because, well, let's be honest, that's not something you see every day. So what do you think happened here?
Happy birthday to you. Let's happy birthday, I said happy birthday, Grundy.
What did you do? That was weird. That wasn't me. Did you do it? That wasn't me.
That was strange, wasn't it?
That was weird.
At this point, whenever you hear a strange encounter in the Appalachian Mountains, you shouldn't be surprised or even scared. That place has a reputation. A man recently shared some trail cam footage from deep within the Appalachian woods. What the camera captured is unsettling. Take a look. You won't see a creature in the usual sense. There's no figure standing out in plain sight, but watch closely. You'll notice something moving across the path. The shape of something walks right through the shot. It's like watching an invisible figure pass through the forest. You can't see it, but you know it's there, and honestly, it gives off an incredibly creepy vibe. But for anyone familiar with the Appalachians, well, this is nothing new. There are countless legends tied to this mountain range, stories of cryptids, mysterious entities, forest spirits, and even the ghosts of people who never made it out. Some say there are beings that exist between worlds, visible only in glimpses. So what did this trail cam capture? Is it a spirit, a camouflaged creature, or something not meant to be seen by human eyes? A subscriber sent this one in, and it's quite strange. It looks like an image of a hand sticking out of a hedge, and before you say, it's just a raccoon, listen to the backstory. The person was out walking their dog when they noticed something odd sticking out of the bushes nearby. At first, they didn't think much of it. Their dog, a mix of wolf and husky, is big and usually fierce. It loves chasing animals, so naturally they assumed it spotted something like a squirrel or a raccoon. But then they got closer and noticed it wasn't just any animal. They claimed they saw a hand, not a paw, a hand sticking out of the hedge, not small like a child's, not quite like an adult's either, just long and strange looking, and that's when the dog did something unusual. It backed away. This was a dog that normally ran straight into chaos, but in this moment, it wanted nothing to do with whatever the thing was. They managed to snap a photograph, and while most people online quickly say it looks like a raccoon, the sender disagrees completely. They say if you look closely, you can even spot eyes peeking through the leaves, and not a raccoon's eyes either. So what exactly did they see? Now immerse yourself in an otherworldly tale captured on footage by a man who claims to have a close encounter with the extraterrestrial kind. In the video, a mesmerizing pink light hovers and dances about, and according to the man behind the lens, this ethereal glow is none other than the elusive alien presence. As the story goes, he remembers feeling very dizzy and losing track of time during this strange encounter. What's even more interesting is the fact that his phone had trouble focusing, almost like something from another world was making it hard to see clearly through the camera. But that's not all. He said he had more footage of his abduction and even filmed their crafts as well. At the end of the footage, the camera falls and you hear footsteps and someone breathing.
The part that kind of freaks me out.
The big question is, could this be a real encounter with aliens, a quick look into the unknown, or is it a mix of different things, maybe natural events or just a trick of the mind? These two men stumble upon a chilling encounter at the corner of an abandoned house. What they find is a creature that straddles the line between human and monstrous. It has a woman-like figure with an otherworldly, ghastly face adorned with razor-sharp teeth. The creature's mouth opens and closes, a haunting spectacle that sends shivers down the spine. Local residents say it's a Jinn. If you don't know what that is, it's a creature from folklore that's known to possess great power. It can either be good or evil. Think of the genie from Aladdin, but this time with free will and all the power in the world. Could be disastrous, right? Anyway, what do you guys think of it?
These holes on this brain MRI aren't holes, they're parasites. Can you guess what it's from? This is neurocysticercosis, and it's caused from eating undercooked meats. This person ate parasitic eggs hidden in pork that then hatched all over the body, including the brain.
Now let's talk about worms, not the ones on the ground, but the ones that can infest humans. Worm infestations are more common than we realize, and some types of worms can even make their way into our brains. These parasites can be mistaken for tumors and have serious health consequences, including organ failure, blindness, and in severe cases, death. One of the most common sources of worms is food, particularly sushi, because the fish is often uncooked. Another notorious carrier is pork. According to the World Health Organization, over 1 billion people worldwide suffer from parasitic infections. This underscores the critical importance of regular deworming. Dr. Josh Hellman, a medical doctor from Harvard, suggests that certain foods can help in deworming. These include carrots, beetroot, and pomegranates. These foods contain compounds that can help to expel parasites from the body. So everyone, it's important to deworm regularly. If you haven't done it in a while, consider this your reminder. You definitely don't want those parasites crawling up into your brain. AI has been good so far, but there are still people who are very skeptical about it, and this is why.
在给俄罗斯男看诗，只有你们中国的兄弟姐妹没抛弃我们。俄罗斯的农村真是个奇妙的地方。主食是土豆。
This is not Olga. Her name is April, and she's been living in China for 8 years. She has my voice, my face, and she speaks fluent Mandarin. And here's Natasha. She's a 31-year-old Russian woman who decided to come to China to sell and advertise Russian food.
A Ukraine YouTuber by the name of Olga Loic came across a chilling discovery. Numerous social media accounts were using an AI-generated influencer with her face and voice. Most of these platforms were Chinese accounts and some were Russian. These accounts were used for various purposes. Some were spreading propaganda, while others were making more money than Olga ever made from social media.
I then translated the videos with Google Translate and figured out the most terrifying part. The narratives my clones were voicing sounded like blatant propaganda.
Russian people will always remember. I really appreciate China. While everyone else is moving away from Russia, only China is behind the quiet support. When other countries reject Russian stuff, it's your support to help Russia meet its immediate needs. China and Russia are good neighbors. China-Russia friendship lasts forever. And then she proceeds to advertise her Russian candies, and you can actually go here and you can buy the candies that she's advertising, which is kind of crazy because, for example, I haven't made even like a $1 from YouTube at the moment. And she already uses my face. They already use my face to make a profit.
The disturbing part is there is nothing she can do about it because these entities technically own the rights to her likeness. How? When you log on to social media and accept the user agreements without reading them carefully, you might end up giving away your face and voice for free to be used by others to make money. I know you love these AI apps, but you may want to start checking their terms and conditions before you upload your images there. But what do you guys think of this situation? Should there be stricter regulations on how AI-generated content can be used, especially when it involves someone's likeness? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section. Well, here's a head-scratcher that takes us to the skies. A humanoid figure draped in a long white robe, arms outstretched, floating in the great expanse above. Now that's definitely not your everyday sighting. When it comes to mysterious figures in the sky, the usual suspects are aliens or, of course, a well-planned hoax. But when it comes to this, even the skeptics are throwing a curveball into the mix. They suggest that this could be a blue beam projection. For those new to the channel, blue beam projections refer to a concept rooted in conspiracy theories that stipulate that governments and other powerful individuals or institutions are using advanced technology to create holographic illusions in the sky, often for deceptive or manipulative purposes. Proponents of this theory suggest that such projections could be used to simulate supernatural or extraterrestrial events, leading to widespread confusion and speculation such as this footage here. It's a stretch, I know, but think about it. Once you've done that, please share your thoughts in the comments section, as we'd love to know what you think. Now, the next one is a tale that takes us to the Black Sea, where curious tourists in 2023 stumbled upon a strange sight. They captured footage of not one, but 2 or 3 mysterious beings in the water that resembled none other than the legendary Loch Ness Monster. These creatures had a distinctive small head and long necks, features that resembled the said creature. For those not familiar with it, the Loch Ness Monster was reportedly first seen in modern times in the year 1933. Since then, there have been many alleged sightings of the creature from all over the world with images. This one is no different, but do you think this will be the very first one that leads to the creature? Share your thoughts in the comment section. Two military guys were in a tree in the woods, likely engaged in some type of training, when out of nowhere, two bears came running into the area. One of the bears started to climb the tree where the men were perched. Luckily, the bear was not aggressive. It noticed the first man, looked around for a while, and perhaps was confused about why the man kept laughing. Maybe it's self-conscious, and the man's laughter affected its self-esteem, but boy, are we glad he was uninterested in the man. This encounter could have turned dangerous, but fortunately the bear's calm behavior allowed the men to avoid a potentially hazardous situation. If you must go out there to the woods, make sure you're informed and know what you may encounter there. Next, we visit Switzerland, where something rather unusual allegedly just showed up in their skies one day. Let's take a look. No, you aren't imagining things. There's a strange, string-like light swirling in the air that resembles a glowing portal. The light had a blue light hue and appeared to be moving in a circular pattern. The footage was taken from the side, offering a clear view of the mysterious formation. The sighting has left many wondering, could this be some sort of portal? Personally, I get why they would think that, as the swirling motion and the ethereal glow certainly give it an otherworldly appearance. Although it's not too different from the alleged clips on portals we've shared on this channel, we must agree that this one is a bit unique. Is it authentic? A number of individuals are divided on that. Some believe this is an actual and true portal, whereas others think this was digitally inserted and placed online. You've seen the clip. What do you think is the most plausible? Someone shared this footage of a strange figure in the sky, and it's got everyone talking. The figure appears to be a person in a white robe, standing with their head down before slowly lifting it, arms wide apart, almost resembling a depiction of Jesus. The eerie sight has sparked a lot of speculation, with some wondering if it's a divine sign or something supernatural. However, when you take a closer look, it starts to seem a bit too perfect. The way the figure moves and the clarity of the image in contrast to the surroundings make it look heavily edited. While it's captivating, it's likely just another case of digital trickery playing on our imaginations. At least, that's what Julius said, and I'm going along with him this time. What say you? I recently stumbled upon this video that has left me questioning my own eyes. The clip shows a tree moving on a street in a residential area, and the last time I checked, trees don't exactly have legs or wings to enable them to move around. Some are suggesting that it could be a drone. However, I'm not entirely convinced by this explanation, and I'm left wondering if the video has been edited or manipulated in some way. The video appears to have been taken on a calm day with no strong winds or weather conditions that might explain the tree's movement. Additionally, the tree itself is quite large, suggesting it would take a significant amount of force to move it. While it is possible that a drone could have caused this movement, I find it difficult to believe that a small device could generate enough force to move a tree of this size. Also, the movement of the tree seems slightly unnatural, almost as if it has been animated, meaning this could be some good editing. But what do you think? CGI, drone, or perhaps the supernatural? Cows are domesticated farm animals that are known for their large size and weight. They're generally not considered to be good climbers as they are not adapted to climbing trees or navigating rough terrain. However, in a surprising turn of events, footage has come to light of a cow that was caught between a tree branch. Naturally, all who saw it had questions. How did the cow end up in this precarious situation? One commenter gave a possible explanation, and that is that the incident occurred during a flood in Thailand. However, when you look at the surroundings, there's no visible evidence of water, making it unclear what happened. It's unclear how long the cow was stuck in the tree or how it was eventually rescued. But what do you think? Did this cow really try to jump over the moon and get stuck, or could there be a more logical explanation? Imagine waking up to something this large on the net of your door. Seeing it gives me the heebie-jeebies. The original poster claimed it was a mosquito, but that can't be right. So what exactly are we looking at here? It's definitely not your average mosquito. The sheer size alone sets it apart. Just look at the right wings and legs with what looks like white spots on it. Some have speculated that it could be a cranefly, which is often mistaken for a giant mosquito due to its long legs and wings. Despite its appearance, a cranefly is harmless and doesn't bite like a mosquito. However, the sheer size of this particular specimen could suggest it's an entirely different species. Anyone familiar with entomology who might be able to pinpoint exactly what this creature is, please let us know. This picture was taken at Luang Sawu, a place with a reputation for being haunted. In the image, you can see a man standing in a doorway, but what's unsettling is the face peeking over his shoulder staring directly into the camera. According to both the man in the photo and the person who took it, there was no one else present at the time. So what could that face be? Given the haunted history of Luang Sawu, some believe this mysterious face could be an entity from the spiritual realm. The building is known for its eerie past, with stories of ghostly apparitions and unexplained phenomena. Could this be evidence of something supernatural? What do you think? Reports of UFO sightings frequently involve objects seen in the sky that leave people feeling uneasy and curious. However, now and then, someone might catch a glimpse of a UFO on land. One such case involves a driver who had an unusual encounter while making their way home. While driving on a highway, he came across a large truck that was transporting what appeared to be a UFO. Although it's unclear whether this object was an actual alien spacecraft, it did bear a remarkable resemblance to the classic description of a flying saucer. The mysterious sighting raises several questions. Is it possible that someone is transporting an authentic UFO, or is there a more mundane explanation for the sighting? Could it be a top-secret military experiment or a clever marketing stunt? Share your thoughts in the comments section. While walking through the woods, someone allegedly came across this. It was a floating tank of some sort, but unlike the regular war tank, this one was smaller and flatter. But why is this thing floating? A commenter stated this. Some call it UFO, others call it drone. Indeed, both explanations offer intriguing possibilities. The thought of extraterrestrial visitors maneuvering among the trees ignites the imagination, conjuring images of otherworldly beings exploring our planet. At the same time, the idea of cutting-edge drone technology pushing the limits of what's achievable is equally captivating, highlighting the advancements humans have made in aerial innovation. So could it be UFO tech or a human-made drone? A part of me thinks neither. A part of me thinks it may be a prop that was set up for this clip in an attempt to gain 5 minutes of fame. But what do I know? Humans might be on the brink of a breakthrough in extending life. A new drug has been developed, and when tested, it extends the lifespan of a middle-aged mice by 25% while also slowing down the aging process. This drug doesn't just add years, it appears to enhance the quality of life, reducing the rate of cancer deaths and potentially addressing age-related diseases like fibrosis, chronic inflammation, and more. There's a buzz around this development, with many speculating that this drug could be the NMN, nicotinamide monochloroetide, a compound already known for its potential anti-aging effects. If this research continues to show promise, we could be looking at a future where aging is significantly delayed, bringing us one step closer to the concept of immortality. We're not entirely sure if this is also another drug altogether. Either way, this is going to be a game changer, don't you think? What are we looking at here is an alleged footage from World War II where a man appears to single-handedly topple a tank. At first glance, it might seem like he's incredibly strong or perhaps has some sort of superpower, but the reality is far less fantastical. This isn't a real tank at all. What he's dealing with is actually an inflatable tank decoy and a rubber tank. These decoys were used during the war to deceive enemy forces, making them think they were facing much larger and more formidable armies than they actually were. These clever tactics were a part of psychological warfare designed to mislead and confuse the enemy. It's fascinating to think about how something so simple as a rubber inflatable could play a significant role in a global conflict, tricking even the most seasoned military strategists. In Iceland, a volcano erupted in Grindavik, causing significant disruption. The lava flowed over roads and engulfed a huge portion of the land. As of now, the eruption is still ongoing. The volcanic activity began on May the 29th, and since then, it's covered homes and properties in its path. The relentless flow of lava has forced many residents to evacuate, leaving behind their belongings and homes. Emergency services and scientists are closely monitoring the situation, but the continuous eruption poses ongoing challenges. The landscape of Grindavik has been drastically altered, with roads rendered impassable and vast areas transformed by the relentless lava. The community has rallied together, with evacuation centers set up for displaced residents. Our hearts go out to you guys. Scientists have recently discovered 7 stars that emit unusual infrared radiations. In their words, they were basically glowing. The funny thing is, they don't know why. One scientist, however, believes that structures known as Dyson spheres could be responsible. But what exactly are these structures? One prevailing theory is that they could be some kind of advanced alien technology, possibly functioning as enormous solar panels. These hypothetical solar panels will be used to capture energy from the stars, which would be an efficient way for an advanced civilization to harness stellar energy. Another possibility is that these structures might serve as a massive space station. These could be habitats or operational bases for extraterrestrial life forms designed to take advantage of the energy output of their host stars. Of course, there's always the chance that these structures are something else entirely, something beyond our current understanding or imagination. Whatever these structures are, however, scientists agree that if they do exist, they would be invisible to the infrared spectrum, and that's what you're seeing. Is this a confirmation? A yes and a no? We can't be entirely sure. Scientists can only speculate at this point, but what do you think of the whole thing? Possible or ludicrous? Let us know in the comments section. This was allegedly recorded by a man who was walking through the woods. Unknown to him, something rather bizarre and offsetting awaited him. There, on a broken structure tangled with tree roots, was a strange-looking snake that was unlike anything he'd seen before. It had two long, menacing horns protruding from its head and what appeared to be fins under its mouth. The creature bore an eerie resemblance to a miniature dragon, except it lacked legs. The horns and fins gave it an almost mythical appearance, making it look like something straight out of a fantasy novel. When this began to circulate, some began to wonder if this could be the remnant of a prehistoric era, a serpent that forgot, or even a species that we are yet to have documented. While the whole thing sounded interesting, some raised questions on the authenticity of the clip. Like most things on the internet, however, we're unable to verify its authenticity, so this is something you would have to take with a grain of salt. What do you think, though? Could this be real or someone messing with us? A woman was at the beach, standing on a rock, gazing down at the water below when she spotted something incredible. Out on one of the rocks in the middle of the ocean was a creature unlike anything she'd ever seen. It had the upper torso of a human and the lower body of a fish, a typical mermaid, right there in the open. But as amazing as this sounds, something about this footage feels off, almost like it's been edited. The way the creature moves, the lighting, or maybe even the way it blends into the background all seem a bit too perfect, almost like it's too good to be true. What do you think? When it comes to paranormal things, hospitals are like magnets for them, mainly because they've served as a place of trauma, suffering, and even death. To underscore this point, take a look at this footage captured by a worker at a hospital. They had noticed something weird going on in a particular room for a while, so they decided to take a camera in hopes of capturing something unusual. And then this happened. In the video, you see an empty bed, but out of nowhere, did you see that? Take a closer look. A dark figure appears out of nowhere by the bed and walks right through it. The figure looks like a shadow, but the room is brightly lit, so you might miss it if you don't pay attention. What do you think this shadow was? Could it be a camera glitch, or was it an actual entity, perhaps the ghost of a deceased patient who used to be in that room? Before dismissing this as unreal, check out this comment from a health worker on the original post. I know you guys loved the praying mantis from our last episode, so here's another one. This is the African spiny mantis. The African spiny mantis, or Pseudocribotra wolbergill, is a fascinating insect. Its striking appearance, with its vibrant colors and spiky appendages, makes it almost otherworldly. The pinkish hues and intricate patterns on its body serve as both camouflage and a warning to potential predators. These mantises are native to Africa and are often found in gardens and forests, where they blend in seamlessly with flowers and foliage. Despite their delicate and beautiful appearance, African spiny mantises are skilled hunters. They use their powerful front legs to catch and hold prey, which they consume with their strong mandibles. I know they're cute, but don't go giving them your fingers unless, of course, you don't want them anymore. Take a look at what this man has to say about our minds.
So the programs that you get for the first 7 years are not yours. They came from other people, and they pass that on to you. But the problem is, it's not just the previous generation, the generation before, the generation before, so we pass down through the family.
It's pretty trippy when you think about it. He suggests that our minds are like programs passed down to us from those who came before. In other words, our paths in life are shaped by the influences of what we've seen or heard from others as we grew up. It's a wild concept, right? The basic idea is that we're all running on inherited mental software, following patterns set by previous generations. What do you think about this? Does it make sense, or is it a bit too far out there?
The generation before, the generation before, so we pass down through the family.
These two huge orbs were spotted in the sky, one hovering at the top and the other below. At first, they seemed just like another mysterious sighting, but then something extraordinary happened. The lower orb began to ascend slowly, making its way toward the one above. As soon as the two orbs touched, there was a sudden burst of light, illuminating the entire sky, followed by a loud booming noise that echoed across the area. Even a nearby dog started barking frantically, clearly disturbed by the strange event. This bizarre incident has left many wondering what exactly could have happened. Were these orbs some sort of experimental aircraft, possibly from a secret military project, or could they be something more otherworldly, like extraterrestrial crafts merging for reasons beyond our understanding? Some have even speculated that this could be a sign of an interdimensional event where two realities briefly collided. What are your thoughts on this? Recently, footage has emerged of a strange glowing object in the sky that kept changing shape. The object has left many people in awe and wonder, trying to determine what it might actually be. Do you see it? See how it transformed within a few seconds? Some have suggested that it could be a genuine UFO craft piloted by extraterrestrial visitors from beyond the stars. Others have speculated that it might be an actual entity of some kind existing beyond our comprehension. However, some believe that it's all just a clever hoax designed to deceive people. Looking at the clip, I can understand why many would think it's a hoax, but well, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the matter. What do you think is going on here? Take a look at this footage that was mailed to us. It was captured by a doorbell camera and showed a mysterious object moving across the doorway. At first, it appeared to be some kind of shadow, but as it moved, it began to emit a bright glow which caught my attention. As you continue to watch the footage, you'll notice that the object seems to be moving slowly and deliberately, almost as if it were crawling along a surface. After closer inspection, I realized that it was a snail that had somehow made its way onto the camera lens and was slowly making its way across it. Either that or there's a giant snail out there and these people are not safe. Before you criticize me in the comments section, I'm joking, please. Or am I? Anyway, what do you think about the whole thing? This oddly shaped cloud was spotted in India, and it has sparked quite a bit of curiosity. The cloud is round with what looks like a path extending toward the Earth. What's even more intriguing is that inside this path there appears to be a UFO-like object as if the craft emerged from the round formation and is now descending through the path. But this isn't the only time that weird clouds have been spotted in the sky. All around the world, people have reported seeing unusual cloud formations, and the most common explanations range from cloaked UFOs to lenticular clouds, which are often mistaken for something more mysterious due to their smooth lens-like shape. Some people also speculate that these clouds could be hiding advanced military aircraft being tested in secret. So what do you think? Are these clouds just natural formations, or could they be hiding something more? This footage was released to the public by Iranian officials. It reveals the astonishing discovery of two mummified bodies, not just ordinary mummies, but those of giant beings found hidden within an ancient tomb in Iran. According to the authorities, these colossal remains are believed to belong to ancient kings who ruled the land centuries ago, adding a layer of historical significance to this already extraordinary find. One of the mummies, according to the officials, is a replica, possibly created to honor these once mighty rulers or perhaps to conceal a deeper truth. The other mummy, however, remains shrouded in mystery. Officials have been surprisingly tight-lipped about it, offering little to no explanation, which only fuels the intrigue. Why the secrecy? What secrets might this ancient giant hold? The sheer size of these beings raises numerous questions. Were they truly human? If so, how did they come to be so large? And what kind of power did they wield in their time? Some speculate that these giants could be connected to ancient myths and legends that speak of a race of giants who once walked the earth. This discovery opens the door to countless possibilities and theories. Could these giants have been rulers of an ancient, forgotten civilization, or is there something more mysterious at play? Something that challenges our understanding of history itself. What do you see when you look at this? While not much information is available to us about the clip, it shows a fish with a human face on its head looking directly at the camera. The footage has left viewers wondering whether this is another case of CGI or a genuinely unique fish in the water. There have been several instances of fish with human-like faces that have gone viral on social media platforms. However, after investigating, it's discovered that some of these fishes are CGI generated, while others are actual unique creatures that dwell in the deepest parts of the ocean. It's fascinating to think about the wonders of the ocean and the vast array of creatures that exist beneath the surface. When we look at this, though, we're not exactly sure what we're dealing with. What do you think could be going on here? Tell us in the comments section. At a festival, a man was seen engaging in a physical altercation, throwing punches recklessly in the air. Most people who witnessed the event immediately assumed that he was under the influence of drugs, as his behavior seemed erratic and aggressive. There were some who thought that there had to be more to his behavior. Some even suggested that there was some inexplicable force pushing him down. They argued that the force was very real and that there had to be something more sinister at play than just drug use. The circumstances surrounding the man's behavior are still unclear, and it's uncertain whether he was indeed under the influence of drugs or if there was an external factor causing his strange behavior. But what do you think? This video from 2016, originally posted by a Reddit user, has certainly stirred up a lot of curiosity. The footage captures the woods near the user's house, where strange noises had been echoing all evening. These sounds are eerie and defy easy explanations, leading to a flood of theories from people trying to make sense of what they heard. Some speculated that it might be a malfunctioning radio tower causing strange signals to resonate through the area. Others thought it could be someone drilling nearby, though no construction was reported in the vicinity. A few even suggested that the noises could be wind passing through pipes or some other natural phenomenon. However, none of these explanations seemed to fit the situation perfectly. What's particularly odd is that similar mysterious sounds have been reported all over the world. These unexplained noises have been heard in various locations, from dense forests to urban areas, yet no clear explanation has ever been given. The sounds range from metallic groans to eerie howls, and they often leave those who hear them with more questions than answers. Do you remember the famous Patterson Gimlin film, often referred to as the Paddy film? This iconic footage, captured in 1967, allegedly shows a Bigfoot, a creature that has sparked endless debates and frenzies within the cryptozoology community. Some skeptics quickly dismissed it, claiming it was nothing more than a person in a costume. But let's take a closer look at what some experts and enthusiasts have pointed out. If you focus on the thigh of the creature, you'll notice something intriguing. The fur in that area appears to be worn down. This subtle detail might seem insignificant at first, but it could be a crucial piece of evidence. The wear and tear on the fur could suggest something more than just a fabricated suit. It's believed that this wear comes from the creature's hands grazing that particular spot as it walks and swings its arms, a behavior consistent with Bigfoot, which is known for having long arms. So what do you think, Bigfoot or not? A man left town to spend some time alone in his cabin in a secluded area in the woods. However, he had to immediately cut his alone time short because one morning he was woken up by these eerie sounds. Listen.
What is that?
It was a loud sound that sounded quite strange and indescribable. It had this howl and sort of a grouch and screech to it. The man didn't wait any more time and left there as fast as he could. When he posted the footage, people had a lot to say about it. Some said it was a skinwalker, others said it was a dragon, and some said it was a Bigfoot. However, skeptics thought differently. One said it could be a moose, while another said that it sounded like something being played from a speaker. What do you think it is?
What in the heck?
Apart from the hidden information on aliens, there are a lot of things that we are still not being informed about. Take a look at this footage that a woman shared.
This is the reason why the police pulled us over. Oh my gosh, what is that?
She was driving down a road in Nevada when the police pulled her over to make way for a wide load. What drove by was astonishing. A huge truck carrying a large mysterious object on its trailer. The object looked like a giant bottle, but what could it be? Nevada is home to several research facilities and test ranges, and it's also close to multiple military bases, including the infamous Area 51. This means the mysterious object could be anything. It could be a secret weapon, an experimental aircraft, a missile, or even part of a space mission project. Who knows? Aaron believes it's part of an alien ship or something connected to secretive government projects involving extraterrestrial technology. If you have any idea about what it could be, share them with us in the comments below. Before the next clip, though, I'll show you this comment from the original post. It had us laughing uncontrollably. Good one, sir.
Oh my gosh, what is that?
This footage was taken by a homeowner in Kerala, India. As he was parking his car, he noticed something extraordinary, a large panther casually roaming in front of the house. The house seemed to be built near a forest, which might explain why this magnificent creature curiously crept into the compound. Just look at the huge feline, pacing about with such grace and power. It's both mesmerizing and terrifying at the same time. Luckily for the man, he was safely inside his car, so he could remain there while filming the panther's every move. The animal, seemingly unaware of his presence, continued to explore the area. Can you imagine the sheer adrenaline rush he must have felt, knowing that this wild predator was just a few feet away? A family was camping in the woods when they were woken up by strange noises. The father, curious and a bit concerned, decided to investigate. He grabbed his camera and a torch, determined to capture whatever was making these sounds, and he did achieve his goal. But what he found was chilling. Take a look. Crouched on a tree branch was a humanoid figure with glowing eyes that pierced through the darkness. The image, though initially unclear, was enhanced later to reveal more details. The figure, while eerily human in shape, didn't seem quite right. The glowing eyes and the lack of visible clothing pointed to something not entirely human. What was it? He didn't know, which is why he uploaded the clip online. I have my theories on what we might be dealing with, but this is one of those videos where I want to hear from you. You tell me your thoughts and theories. What do you think we're dealing with here? On the island of Flores, this strange-looking creature was discovered. It was a 3-foot-tall humanoid with large feet and a small skull. This intriguing find was named the Hobbit Man. Known scientifically as Homo floresiensis, this species lived around 50,000 years ago. The discovery of these hobbits has caught the interest of the scientific community and their public. Some people have even reported sightings of similar creatures in various parts of the world. The existence of Homo floresiensis, along with other extinct human species like Neanderthals and Denisovans, suggests that these were indeed different species of humans. These species coexisted with our ancestors Homo sapiens and interacted with them in ways we're still trying to fully understand. The diversity among ancient human species highlights the complexity of human evolution. Each species has unique adaptations that help them survive in their particular environments. For example, the small stature and large feet of Homo floresiensis may have been advantageous for navigating the dense forests of Flores. Others still undiscovered or elusive human-like species living today. While such sightings are often attributed to folklore and imagination, the rich tapestry of human evolution reminds us that the natural world is full of surprises. What do you think about these hobbit humans? In these past few weeks, we featured lots of clips from all over the world showing strange things happening in the skies that people are being forced to keep quiet about. What you see on your screen is no exception, and it was recorded recently in the skies of China. As the one filming zoomed in, it became clear that this was not just ordinary lights. The glow had an eerie, otherworldly quality that left viewers puzzled and intrigued. What could this be? Well, some speculate that it might be a natural phenomenon or a reflection of city lights off low-hanging clouds. However, the unusual appearance of the glow makes these explanations seem unlikely. Others believe that the glow could be caused by human activity, such as a light show or a projection for an underground event. I believe if this was a light show, the person recording would have been perplexed. In recent years, there have been instances of cities using powerful lights and projectors to create dramatic effects in the sky. This has led others to suggest that the glow could be evidence of extraterrestrial activity or a secret government project. What do you think? A man went cave exploring when he saw a woman standing at the mouth of the cave. She was dressed entirely in black from head to toe and clutched a strange bundle of books and sticks in her arms. Something about her presence felt unnerving, but before he could process what was happening, she suddenly ran back into the cave. Curious and maybe a little reckless, he chased after her. Deeper inside, she stood at the very end of the cave, staring after him. After a long moment of hesitation, he finally got her to speak, and what she said was even stranger than her appearance. She claimed she was a witch married to a Jinn and that this cave was their home. Before he could ask anything else, she vanished into thin air. Then out of nowhere, the entire cave began to shake. Rocks started to fall, and the man ran for his life, barely making it out. Was this truly a witch? Could she have really been the wife of a Jinn? Or was it all just an elaborate hoax? Whatever the case, it's safe to say that this man got far more than he bargained for when he entered the cave. Maybe that will teach him not to run after suspicious individuals entering a cave. This could have been much worse.
Bro, what in the ever-loving shit am I looking at right now?
A man was parked on a remote wooded road when he noticed something. This toddler in a onesie running toward his car. At first, it seemed like a lost child, but then he noticed something was off. The boy's body was oddly tilted to the side, his mouth slightly open, staring at the car with a vacant, almost unnatural expression. It was as if he didn't recognize what the car was. Even more unsettling, the child kept looking at the car, then tilted his head upward toward the sky. The man called out to the boy, asking where his parents were, but the toddler didn't respond. He just stood there, staring, his posture still unnervingly slanted. The footage cuts off at that moment, so we don't know what happened next, but online people are split on what this could be. Some believe this was a real lost child wandering too far from home, but others aren't so sure. The lack of response, the unnatural posture, and the eerie behavior all feel too strange. Some even think this wasn't a child at all, but a skinwalker. You know, these beings that take up the form of people and other beings. Anyway, if you were the one sitting in the car, what would you have done?
Where's he gone? What's up there?
A man was alone in the woods and decided to turn on his camera and record his surroundings. While scanning the area, he captured something eerie. There was an old figure walking by. The figure had the shape of an older person draped in a robe. What made the sighting particularly unsettling was how the figure seemed to appear out of nowhere, walking calmly before disappearing right next to an abandoned structure in the woods. After the figure disappeared, he walked closer to check if it was an actual person, but there was no one there.
Where's he gone? What's up there?
I really miss home. I hate being here. Trish, I love you. I wish I could be home with you too. I know we.
So this clip starts off casually with what looks like a serene and everyday scene. A man is on screen talking to his audience. A few seconds in and something unusual starts to happen. The sweater on his bed falls, but that's not so weird, right? After all, clothing can and actually does fall when not placed correctly. Either way, he gets distracted by it and turns around. Just as he's looking at it, something moves violently in his closet. After watching the clip, it just didn't add up, so I searched for the original post and discovered something. The man in the clip claims he was recording a vlog for his family back home while stationed in Iraq, expressing his love and longing for them when an eerie voice and his locker door slamming open abruptly left him terrified, prompting him to request a room change. In other words, he heard a voice there before the movements, which makes him believe there was a ghost there with him. Naturally, this has left the community divided. Some claim it has to be real, whereas others are skeptical, stating no true soldier would share the details of his assignment, let alone place something like this online. You've seen the clip. What do you guys also think?
Trish, I love you. I wish I could be home with you too. I know we.
Back in 2012, a strange video surfaced allegedly taken by a man who went beyond the ice wall and captured footage of the moon. Now, here's where things get weird. When you look closely at the moon in the footage, you can see a strange shape on its surface, one that resembles a salamander. But this isn't just some random coincidence. According to a wild conspiracy theory, the moon is actually reflecting the hidden shape of Earth, showing lands and territories that have been kept secret from us. The idea is that the world we know is just a small part of a much bigger reality that extends beyond the so-called ice wall. There's even an old map drawn by the Germans during World War II that supposedly matches the shape of the moon, revealing unknown continents and civilizations beyond what we believe to be the edge of the world. So, is this proof of hidden lands, or just another crazy conspiracy? A mother had left her son home alone with their dog. To keep an eye on him, she had a security camera set up in the house which would check from time to time. But one day, as she was reviewing the footage, she noticed something terrifying. In the corner of the room just past the doorway, something walked across and then disappeared. At first, she thought maybe it was just a trick of the light, but then her son appeared on the other side of the room, walking toward the same doorway with his dog. Here's where it gets even stranger. The mysterious figure looked almost exactly like her son, same height and same build. But as it reached the end of the hallway, it vanished into thin air. The woman was shaken. If her son had been walking from the other direction, who or what was the first figure? Had she unknowingly left her son alone with a ghost? Was there a malevolent being in there with them? I guess we'll have to wait for an update on that one. The idea of living in a simulation is something that has intrigued humanity for years, and it's only gaining more traction. Recently, I came across a fascinating video on Instagram by Mermaid. In it, he delves into the story of Robert Monroe, a man whose experience might just challenge everything we believe about reality.
Would you welcome Robert Monroe? What is an out-of-body experience?
Well, an out-of-body experience is a state of being, a state of awareness, a state of action, separate and apart from the physical body. About 25% of the population throughout the world, I guess, has this spontaneously take place that they're aware of, at least once in their lifetime.
Robert Monroe had incredible natural abilities to leave his body, to see things he shouldn't have seen. Long story short, Bob Monroe wanted to make sure that number one, he wasn't crazy, and number two, that his experiences were replicable by a scientific process.
Robert Monroe was an influential figure, widely known for his ability to astral project, which is essentially to leave his physical body and explore the world in a non-physical form. Through these experiences, Monroe reportedly uncovered insights that suggest our existence may not be as real as we think. He even provided explanations and accounts that point to the possibility that we're living in a simulated reality. In his writings and teachings, Monroe detailed what he encountered during his astral travels, dimensions beyond our own, beings with extraordinary capabilities, and most strikingly, the idea that our world could be an elaborate construct. This wasn't just a speculation. Monroe spent years refining his technique and documenting his findings, drawing both believers and skeptics. So what do you think? Could Monroe have truly tapped into something beyond, or is it just another theory about the nature of existence?
What happens? What happens? Well, what happens is that you as an individual suddenly find yourself, for one reason or another, apart from your physical body, and yet you can think, you can be, you can act, but your physical body is in some other location. It may be only 2 inches away or 2,000 miles away.
Yeah, this is Mako. Are you seeing this? I don't know what to do. If I push up the ass off, they're just going to shoot him down.
This footage, reportedly taken in Antarctica, has been labeled as forbidden and has sparked a wave of speculation. The video shows a fleet of disc-shaped UFOs flying in formation, heading toward a specific direction in the sky. The idea of Antarctica being a secret alien base has been a persistent theory in UFO lore. Supporters of this theory argue that the continent's remoteness, harsh climate, and restricted access make it an ideal location for extraterrestrial activity or covert operations. Does this footage lend credibility to those claims? What do you think?
Yeah, this is Mako. Are you seeing this? I don't know what to do. If I push up the ass off, they're just going to shoot him down.
This video you're looking at is not edited. It's actual drone footage of a lake, but what makes it unusual is its vibrant pink color. While it looks beautiful and surreal, almost like something from another planet, this phenomenon isn't exactly a good thing. The pink hue is caused by an overgrowth of certain microorganisms, mainly algae, bacteria, and archaea, which thrive in highly saline environments. These tiny organisms produce pigments, especially carotenoids, that color the water in shades of pink and red. This phenomenon is sometimes referred to as a pink lake event, and while it may seem like a natural wonder, it's often signaling an imbalance in the ecosystem. This presence of excessive salt, rising temperatures, and pollution can trigger the overgrowth of these microorganisms, sometimes making the lake uninhabitable for fish and other aquatic life. In some cases, the water can even become toxic, releasing harmful chemicals or depleting oxygen levels, which can lead to mass die-offs of marine species. Nature can be stunning, but sometimes its beautiful displays are nothing but warning signs. This footage was captured back in 2020, and what it shows is truly bizarre. At first glance, it looks like a whitish object lying on the ground, almost like a plastic bag caught in the wind. But then, watch closely as it moves, and not just randomly. This thing moves with an unnatural precision, almost as if it's alive. But what is it? Some believe it's a cryptid yet to be classified. Others think it could be a strange mutated life form. Of course, skeptics argue that it's just an optical illusion, CGI, or a weirdly shaped object reacting to wind currents. Whatever it is, it's unlike anything we have seen before. My money is on CGI and AI though. What about you? What do you think? Imagine sitting in a quiet office, casually monitoring the security cameras at your workplace when something chilling catches your eye. This is exactly what happened to a shop manager who was reviewing footage late one evening. On the monitor, he noticed a pale face peeking out from behind the door. It looked like the face of a woman, but half of her face appeared distorted, almost as though it was melting or unnaturally blurred. Startled, the manager quickly turned his phone camera to a point at the actual door, expecting to see someone there. But when he looked directly at the spot where the face should have been, there was no one there. It became clear that the security camera was capturing something his eyes couldn't see, possibly an entity or ghost lingering in the shop. Who could this mysterious figure be? Was she someone tied to the shop's past, or just a lost soul making her presence known? Everyone is entitled to their beliefs, especially when it comes to religion. For Christians, faith in Jesus is central, though most have never seen him in person, only relying on stories from the Bible. But what if someone actually captured an image of him? This photograph, taken by a woman on a plane, has sparked that very question. She was flying during a storm when turbulence began to shake the aircraft violently. As fear gripped her, she said a quick prayer, asking for protection and calm. Miraculously, just minutes later, the storm subsided and a strange sense of peace filled the cabin. Compelled by an unexplainable urge, she reached for her camera and snapped a picture out of the window into the stormy skies. She didn't think much of it until after she landed and took the photo to be developed. When she saw the image, she was stunned. There, in the clouds, was the figure of a man in a white robe with arms outstretched. She believes this was Jesus appearing to her in the midst of the storm. The story has left many wondering. What are your thoughts? Do you believe this woman captured an image of Jesus, or is it open to interpretation? Have you ever heard of the Amityville Horror? It's one of the most infamous haunted house cases in history. This particular photograph was taken by Ed Warren, a well-known paranormal investigator inside the Amityville house. In the photograph, there appears to be a young boy with glowing eyes standing at the top of the stairs, staring straight ahead. The eerie image spooked many, and Ed Warren himself believed that this was the ghost of John DeFeo, a 9-year-old boy who once lived in the house. The reason for his conclusion was because of the tragic history of the house. In 1974, Ronald DeFeo Jr. brutally murdered his entire family of 6, including young John. When questioned, DeFeo claimed that a mysterious voice told him to do it. With such a dark event tied to the house, the Warrens were convinced that the spirits of the DeFeo family still lingered, and this chilling photograph was proof. However, skeptics later debunked the claim, suggesting that the figure in the photograph was not John DeFeo, but instead a person who was inside the house at the time. The glowing eyes were likely just a result of a camera flash reflecting off of his eyes. Still, for those who believe in the paranormal, the question remains, was this truly the spirit of John DeFeo, or just a creepy coincidence? Did you know that rainbows are not actually arcs, but are full circles? Rainbows are actually full circles, but most of the time we only see an arc because the ground gets in the way. From the ground, our view is limited, so we only catch the top half of the circle. However, if you're high up in a plane or on a tall mountain, you might be lucky enough to see a full circular rainbow in the sky. It's all about how light refracts and reflects inside water droplets, creating that beautiful spectrum of colors. So next time you see a rainbow, just imagine the other half hidden below the horizon. Let's dive into another mystery, this time from Japan. Residents in a quiet community captured these intriguing images during the evening, and they've left everyone puzzled. In the photos, you can see 9 glowing pillars of light piercing through the sky. These radiant beams appeared to stretch from the sky into the air, yet no one in the area reported seeing anything on the ground that could have produced them. No large lights, no machinery, nothing. What makes this even more bizarre is that there's no clue or explanation as to how these lights got there. Some speculate there could be a rare atmospheric phenomenon, perhaps caused by ice crystals reflecting light. Others are convinced this is evidence of something otherworldly, like a signal or a portal. So what do you think these mysterious light pillars could be? What would you do if you found human remains while exploring the woods? Leave the place and not return, right? Well, the individual who recorded the upcoming video did the exact opposite, and this is why. They wanted to get to the bottom of whatever they had encountered. When they returned, they hung a trail camera in the area and captured what you're seeing on your screen. In the beginning, they didn't know what it was that they were looking at, but after a few seconds, it became apparent. It was definitely the big guy. Although we don't see much of him, from what we do see, we can tell he's huge. He appears to have fur all over his body and moves those branches with ease, which will suggest strength or muscle, as some like to put it. While many in the paranormal community are convinced these guys may have caught a glimpse of the Bigfoot, some are skeptical. They feel the whole thing might have been a setup. Even among those who don't think it's a setup, something doesn't sit right. What was Bigfoot doing with human remains? I guess we'll never really know. This video comes from Russia. A man was walking through the forest when he stumbled upon this gigantic gray spherical object sitting right in the middle of the jungle. It looked completely out of place, like it had been dropped from somewhere else. No one seems to know what it is. Some believe it could be an alien cocoon housing something yet to emerge. Others suggest it might be a strange art installation left there by an artist as a statement piece. However, if it were just art, wouldn't someone have come forward to claim it? And if it were something unnatural, how did it end up there? Perfectly round and undisturbed. Could this actually be something extraterrestrial, or is there a more rational explanation? Whatever the situation, we wouldn't find out because we didn't receive any update from him. Maybe he discovered it was indeed nothing, or maybe the government found him and silenced him. You can never really know when it comes to these sorts of things unless you're actively involved. This video comes from a home security camera capturing something truly eerie. One evening, the camera recorded a figure dressed in white approaching the house. At first, it looked like a normal person walking into the compound, but then just as the figure got close to the door, it faded into thin air, just vanished. When I first saw this footage, I thought it was just a woman heading home, but the way she gradually disappeared into nothingness is chilling. Is this a glitch in the camera or solid proof of a ghost caught on tape? Most members of my team think so, but like everyone else, that's up for debate. What do you guys also think? A young woman was out one snowy night, walking alone around the reservation when something chilling happened. Take a listen. What is that? A loud, piercing scream echoed through the area, sharp enough to send shivers down anyone's spine. The sound resonated, cutting through the cold, silent night. She was completely alone, and it had just snowed heavily, meaning most people were likely tucked away in the warmth of their homes. So she panned her camera around, trying to find the source of the scream, but there was nothing in sight, just darkness and snow-covered ground. This eerie event has left people in a frenzy, speculating about what could have caused the sound. Some believe it might be a skinwalker, others suggest it could be a banshee. So what do you think it is? Some games aren't for the faint of heart, and this footage might just prove it. Two girls decided to play a light-hearted race game involving an elevator. One of them left her phone recording inside the elevator while they both ran down the stairs trying to meet the elevator on the lower floor before it arrived. The game seemed simple enough, but what happened next was anything but ordinary. By the time the elevator reached the lower floor, the girls were still nowhere in sight. The elevator doors opened and closed again. The strange thing, there were no sounds around, no buttons being pressed. It was just the elevator moving as if it had a mind of its own. Then, things took an eerie turn. As the doors continued their strange behavior, a woman's voice could be faintly heard coming from inside the empty elevator. The words were unclear, but the presence of a voice where there should have been silence was chilling. Moments later, the two girls finally appeared. What do you think happened? Some friends were out at the beach one night when they noticed something strange. As the waves washed over the shore, parts of the sand and water started to glow blue. They were so excited that they started playing in it. Now, before you think this is some kind of interdimensional energy, this is exactly a natural phenomenon. It's called bioluminescence. It's a rare and breathtaking event caused by tiny microorganisms in the ocean. These organisms, known as dinoflagellates, produce a natural glow when they are disturbed by movement, whether by waves, fish, or even footsteps on the wet sand. The result is a magical glowing shoreline that looks like something from another world. This phenomenon is more common in certain areas, especially in warm coastal waters, but it's still rare enough to be an incredible sight for those lucky enough to witness it. Have you ever seen bioluminescent waves in person? If not, would you want to? This goalkeeper had already broken his nose during the game, but what happened next was even stranger. As he went to blow his nose, his eye instantly puffed up like something had traveled from his nose to his eyelid in a split second. It looked unnatural, almost as if the air had been forced into the wrong place. But believe it or not, this isn't as uncommon as you might think. This happens because of something called orbital emphysema. It's a rare condition when air gets trapped in the soft tissues around the eye due to a fracture in the sinuses. When he blew his nose, the pressure forced air into the space around his eye, causing it to swell up instantly. It looks alarming, but in most cases it goes away on its own as the body slowly absorbs the trapped air. Still, imagine breaking your nose and then suddenly looking like you've been punched in the face just from blowing your nose. I know some of you are tempted to think it's reptilian. I did initially, but looks like this isn't one of those times. Our next clip takes us all the way to Russia, where we're introduced to a rather unexpected and unusual sight. Take a look.
Дети мои, смотрите, какую я скульптуру нашла.
And yes, that's an alleged real-life UFO. It's rumored to have crash-landed while the individuals who recorded the clip were exploring the area. The design, I must say, looks impressive and realistic, but, well, it does look a little too small for what I'd expect a UFO to be. I know what you're thinking. Why didn't this go viral? Well, the answer, according to the uploader, is simple. The government. The military allegedly got there a few minutes after the crash, forced them out of the site, and started censoring their posts. Given what we know about Russia, that's like getting a slap on the wrist if this is true. I'd expect a more brutal response, such as, permanently silencing them. But perhaps Russia isn't as brutal as we might think. Anyway, do you think this is real, or is someone just trying to get their 5 minutes of fame?
Дети мои, смотрите, какую я скульптуру нашла.
You guys hear that? Something out there. Hey, what the is that?
A group of men went out in the woods late one night to hunt. As they parked their car at the tree line and prepared to step out, they were met with an unexpected and chilling sound. From deep within the forest came a loud guttural growl resonating through the trees. The sound was so intense that it froze them in their tracks. Rather than pressing forward, they decided to stay put, unsure of what might be out there. One of the men pulled out his phone and began recording, hoping to capture any movement or clue about the creature making the noise. While nothing was spotted, the sound itself left the men convinced that this was no ordinary animal. They believed the growl came from a Bigfoot, a warning to stay out of its territory. Could this really be a Bigfoot guarding its domain, or could it be an elusive predator native to the area? What do you think?
Hey! What the are you? Something pissed off out there.
A man who works at a cabin company that builds and sells cabins had a strange encounter one night while he was alone at one of their locations. The top floor of the building had all its lights turned off and it was completely dark. But then he noticed something strange. On the side windows, there was a flicker of light for just a second. It was so subtle that he took out his phone to zoom in and get a better look, and that's when he saw it. At the window stood a shadowy humanoid figure, completely still, facing his direction. It didn't move, it just stood there, watching. The man felt his stomach drop. He was the only one there, or so he thought. After a moment of hesitation, he gathered his courage and decided to go upstairs to investigate. He searched every room, every corner, but there was nothing. No person, no sign of anyone had ever been there. So what was that figure? A trick of the light, a shadow, or something else? A family got the scare of their lives after their dog suddenly jumped on them while they were relaxing on the couch, and when they checked the security footage, they finally saw why. In the clip, you can see a man sitting on the couch, casually scrolling on his phone, with someone else covered up beside him. Their dog was lying peacefully nearby when out of nowhere, it was yanked backwards by an unseen force. The startled dog immediately leapt up, looking terrified and confused, before climbing onto the couch with its owners. At first, the family had no idea what had scared their pet, but after reviewing the footage, it all became clear. There was nothing visible in the room, yet something clearly pulled their dog, and it reacted as if it had been attacked by an invisible presence. So was this just a strange coincidence, or was there something paranormal in their home?
Check this video. Dude, where the hell's...
Two men decided to explore an abandoned sewer tunnel, hoping to uncover some mysteries locked within. There seemed to be a sealed mesh door blocking their entry. Despite their efforts, the door was impossible to open, forcing them to remain outside the tunnel. As they lingered, strange sounds began to echo from deep within the tunnel. They were eerie noises that seemed to carry a mysterious presence. The men couldn't see anything beyond the mesh, but the sounds were enough to send chills down their spines. Some believe it could be an animal, while others suspect something more sinister, perhaps a cryptid. Aaron suspects the latter, but what say you?
Check this video. Dude, where the hell's...
Take a look at this photo and tell me what you see. At first, it just looks like a couple taking a sweet photograph together. The man is smiling with their dog perched on his shoulder. Seems like a normal, happy moment until you look a little closer. Follow the dog's gaze. The dog isn't looking at the camera. It's staying off to the side, fixated on something else entirely. Now let's zoom in. Right there in the reflection on the wall behind them is a pale face. It looks like the face of a woman. Her expression is blank and her skin is almost ghostly white. What's strange is that the couple didn't seem to notice anything at the time, but the dog did. It's the only one who reacted to the presence. So who or what is this mysterious figure in the photograph? Could it be a former resident of the house, a lost loved one, or maybe something else entirely that decided to appear just for a split second? And with that, we end today's episode. Thank you for staying with us. Before you go with our clips and videos you think we should have featured by now that we haven't, well, the good news is you can share them with us and we'll post them crediting you. Please send any such footage, including ones you recorded yourself, to us via classifiedcaptures@gmail.com. We'll do our thing and include it in our next episode. We can't wait to receive what you have. I've been Steve. This has been Classified Captures. Thanks for staying with us. Share this with someone you love, and I'll see you in the next one.